Yo, what's good, y'all? Game 7 reaction to the Western Conference Finals. As you can see, we're not in my normal little setup in the corner of my room at home. We are in St. Augustine, beautiful beach.
Hello, my name is Vin. I'm at the beach. I'm at the beach.
Beautiful sun, beautiful sky and all that. Thought it'd just be a nice little scenery to have in the background. But no, yeah, I want to talk about Game 7 more in depth. I posted a TikTok about it earlier. I wanted to have like a longer form video about just more in depth stuff, what I believe about the game in general, and probably talk a little bit more about the finals too, between the Spurs and the Knicks, as the Spurs beat the Thunder in a 7-game series, which I was hoping for. I wanted all 7 games because I knew the Spurs and Thunder were going to just play. Just every game was really great. Obviously, it peaked in the first game because that first game was genuinely cinema, but every game after that though was still really great too. My reaction to Game 7, right? So I wrote down a bunch of stuff. Like as I was watching the game, I wanted to write down some stuff, what I was watching and everything like that, but just some stuff I thought about the game just off the top of my head in general. In the beginning of the quarter, right, the first quarter, the Spurs came out strong, very aggressive. You can just tell they were already coming with momentum from Game 6, like the ending of Game 6, right? The second half of Game 6, they played super aggressive. They like outscored the Thunder in the third quarter by like almost 20 or more. And then even in the fourth quarter, they didn't outscore them by too much, but they were locked in. And then even in this game, they came out really aggressive in the first quarter. Second quarter came about. They let go of the gas a little bit. They were still up going into the second half. They were up by like, I believe, 3. Third quarter comes, beats them. Not by much. It was beating them. And even in the fourth quarter, still ended up beating them. It was just a really good aggressive game. I won't lie. Really good aggressive game by the Spurs. Wemby. Now I know the stats won't show it because obviously, you look at the stats. Wemby had like 22 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, a block, a steal, and you would think, damn, Wemby had like an average, below average game for himself, But like the defensive impact he had was, insane. You have players like Shea driving in, Caruso driving in, players that just drive in, go in, see Wemby, dish it out, or they just run out. They're not trying to go up on Wemby. Even if, like I said, it doesn't show up on the stat line, the shot deterrence that he was, creating was insane. Talking about the game, I do want to give my flowers before I start critiquing certain players. For the Spurs specific, like I said, we already know Wemby was going to play great. He had Julian Champagnie, who had, 20 points on 6 3-pointers? Like, all his points came from 3-pointers. He had 2 free throws. Shout out Julian Champagnie. He came up, he shut out. Then you had also players like Stephon Castle, who had, I believe, like 16 points. Not great efficiency, but had 16. Dylan Harper had his 12 points off the bench. De'Aaron Fox actually showed up. I think he had, 15 points on good efficiency also. Boys just came out and showed out. They really tried hard, and I mentioned this to my brother, and I mentioned to other people too. For the Spurs to win Game 7, they were going to have to everyone was going to have to show up because the Thunder are just a great overall team too. And just everyone had to show up, and all the key main players showed up. Oh, even Devin Vassell too. He played really well too. He wasn't scoring well. He wasn't hitting threes like that as well as he usually does. Playing amazing defense, energy, and everything like that. Keldon Johnson also stepped up, hit threes. Some really clutch threes too in the fourth. So shout out Keldon. Shout out Devin Vassell. The boys were hooping, man. The whole team was just really hooping really well. And you go to the Thunder, right? Obviously, Shea. I know the Spurs won and Wemby looked amazing, but I won't lie. Shea looked like the best player on the court, right? Having 35 points on great efficiency. I believe it was like 12 or 21. Hit like 2 threes, and he was hitting tough buckets. It wasn't like some normal, regular buckets. He was getting some really, really tough ones. And then you had guys like Cason Wallace who stepped up. He had, I believe, under 20 points. I think he had like 17 or something like that. But he had like 12 or 14 of them in the fourth quarter. He was a big booster for the Thunder in the fourth quarter. Just because Shea didn't put up. I think he only put up like 4 shots in the fourth quarter, but Cason Wallace was really hooping. He was on fire in the fourth. Other guys try their best to step up. This is where I'm going to start transitioning into critiquing. We're going to start with the Thunder because obviously they lost, and then I'm going to try to critique my best on the Spurs. So the biggest issue for the Thunder was just the fact that no one other than Shea showed up, and Cason Wallace. I'll give him that. I think the Spurs, just starting off how they started, really shook the Thunder a lot. I don't think they were prepared for that aggression, that aggressive defense, and the overall polarizing offense that the Spurs had in the first half, really. I think the Thunder just couldn't get anything going if it wasn't Shea. Like Shea holding the ball, Shea providing offense, playmaking, scoring, off-ball movement. Like if it wasn't Shea involved, like they couldn't get anything going. So anytime Shea was off the floor, it was rough, right? Jeremy McCain, right, tried his best. I think he had 12 points, wasn't efficient, but he's putting up shots, right? And this is going to be a trend because I'm going to start mentioning this. So Caruso, he also had like I think like 12 points, but like he took 14 shots, right? You had other guys trying their hardest, right? Jalen Williams off the bench, he was hooping. He only hit 1 3, and I swear I felt like he hit that 1 3 he hit was like insane, and like he was hooping. He even closed out the game. You had other guys try to step up. Biggest issues for the Thunder to players specifically, Lou Dort, right? 16 minutes, right? And you had, I think, 3 points, and it was like 1 for 4. My issues with Lou Dort is just the fact that, like, yes, is he a great defender? Yes, sure. We can roll with that. Lou Dort's a great defender. But the issue is just the fact that this playoff run, it just doesn't seem, he didn't seem like he was a great defender at all. Like, you can be a great defender, but, like, if you can't put the ball in the basket, dog, like, it's kind of hard to play you. Because, like, the Spurs have great defenders, too, and they can put the ball in the basket. Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, obviously Wemby. Lou Dort can't do that. Can't hit his threes. And so you just seen him being played off the floor and just not getting any minutes. You have guys like Jerry McCain getting minutes. Cason Wallace, like, these guys are getting more minutes than Lou Dort, who was obviously a starter in the finals last year. And was a starter for most of the season, right? That was a big issue for the Thunder. Another one, which he has my biggest gripe for this entire Thunder team, because clearly he sees ghosts, aka sees an alien in Wemby. It's Chet Holmgren. Guys, let's not forget, right? Chet Holmgren was a number 2 pick in the draft at one point. Could be one of the faces for the Thunder for the future. Like, I'm not saying Chet is bad, right? I actually liked Chet coming into the draft. I thought he was going to be the number 1 overall pick. I was going to be a Chet guy. That feeling has died out a little bit. It's just the fact that you put up 4 shots in the first half, and you didn't take a single shot after that. No more shots after that. You had 4 points, and you put up, was it 4 shots, or was it 2? Let's see. I went to go look just to make sure. Chet Holmgren actually only put up 2 shots, so I was just wrong. I thought you put up 4, because you actually put up those 2 shots in the first half, and you actually didn't put up any more shots in the second half. You didn't put up a single shot at all. You were, I think in the third quarter you were a positive, but in the fourth quarter you were a negative, and I can visibly seen it, right? You didn't want the ball at all. Anytime you got the ball, you would dribble a little bit in front of Wemby and pass it out. And then a couple times where you wanted to, right, you were like, let me see if I can go get a bucket. You fell to the ground. Or you got scared, you passed it out again. I just think that Chet Holmgren's way too good of a player in general to be so scared to go for a bucket. Like, you're not bad. I get it. Wemby's amazing. To me, he's now the best player in the league, right? And that's definitely biased, or recency bias or anything like that. But Chet, you're not awful. Like, why are you not attempting to put up a shot in the second half where Shea needs you? To me, you'd be the second best player on this team. Third best player. Obviously, J-Dub exists, but he just didn't play. He was injured. But you're supposed to step up. Now you're supposed to be the second best player on this team. And you have Cason Wallace outplaying you. You got Alex Caruso outplaying you. You got Jerry McCain outplaying you. You got players. Lou Dort, like, bro, Lou Dort would have put up more shots than you. Lou Dort. So that's such a big issue for me. I just think that nobody came to show up for Shea and help him out. And, like, if he just tried a little bit, man, if he just tried, the game would have been way more closer. It would have been way more grimier. Because, like, the Spurs only won by 8. If you just showed up a little bit, bro. Those are big issues for me. Also, a big thing, too, in the second half in general, no offensive rebounding. None for the Thunder. The Thunder could not get an offensive board. There's so many second chance points for the Spurs that, like, obviously helped them out a lot. I don't know. The Thunder is so good that, like, yes, they messed up in the last couple games, but, like, they can just run it back again next season, and they'll be in the same position again where they're going to be in the conference finals again and go against the Spurs more than likely. There really isn't no big issue for the Thunder to resolve in the offseason. Maybe more shooting, maybe more versatile players, like, that can shoot and defend. Maybe bigger forwards. Sometimes they ran really small lineups and stuff like that. But I just feel like they can run it back again and they'll be fine. Like, they just had one bad series. I mean, you win against, to me, a better team than the Spurs. That was my biggest thing with the Thunder. The Spurs, I mean, I could sit here and probably think for a minute and try to figure that out and see what biggest issues for the Spurs are. But De'Aaron Fox, he played great, like I said. I'm not going to hate on De'Aaron Fox too much. I just think he needs to keep this going because they're going to want to play you. Even though I think they should play Dylan Harper over him, that's a different story. But the Spurs are going to keep playing him, and he needs to keep playing how he's playing, with relieving the playmaking duties off of Stephon Castle too much, and being a decent to good scorer, and having that veteran presence on the court. I think that's really important. Probably more bench scoring for the Spurs. I think that would be needed. I think they need to score more off the bench because I think the Knicks are a very high-powered offense. So I do think the Spurs bench needs to come out a little bit more and score more. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to say anything wrong with the Spurs, man. They played a really honest, perfect game. Well, not perfect, but like close to perfect, you know? So I also mentioned, like I said, Thunder were really dependent on Shea. Can't score without Shea, pretty much is what it looked like. I got to mention this part because I genuinely jumped out of my seat because I was a little worried. So during the fourth quarter, Wemby gets his 5th foul, right? So I thought for at least a couple minutes, the Spurs are going to sub out Wemby, get him back in probably in the 4 or 5 minute mark. Let him come back in and like close out the game, right? Wemby gets subbed out, Luke Cornett comes in. And I'm not the hugest fan of Luke Cornett. He's not terrible, but obviously he's one of the lower end backups in my opinion. I thought so, and he proved me wrong to an extent, And within that pretty much minute of no Wemby, they get a steal. Like, Hartenstein gets a steal. Hartenstein's running down the court. Luke Cornett's catching up. Yada, 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 right? I'm thinking foul, right? Foul. Luke Cornett's going to foul Hartenstein a little bit. Luke Cornett jumps up with Hartenstein, gets the chase down block, and I get lit. It's not even my team, but I got lit. I was like, what? I was like, Luke Cornett getting a chase down? Me and my brothers, we were watching the game. We just jumped out of our seats. It was insane. And then right after that, Wemby gets checked back in, gives credit to like Luke Cornett. Luke Cornett gets all the love on the bench and everything. Dude, I mean, it was a clutch block. I think the Spurs were still up by like 8, but I mean, momentum would have switched obviously if Hartenstein gets the steal, gets the fast break layup, crowd gets lit and everything like that. So that was really clutch of Luke Cornett did not allow that. So shout out Luke Cornett for that play. I wrote that down. I was like, Luke Cornett block on Hartenstein. That was fire. I needed to mention that one. Oh yeah, a lot of clutch threes from both sides. Oh my god, the amount of Cason Wallace threes that I was just sitting there thinking like, because he was just left open a lot, and I'm just seeing it like I'm like, oh, that's green. Like anytime it hit Cason Wallace's hands and he was like pretty much open, it was green. And like I was saying that out loud with my brothers, and my youngest brother Dylan is just like, why are you saying green to that shot? I'm like, bro, it's Cason Wallace. He's been hitting all fucking day. Like he's gonna make it. It's wide open. So a lot of clutch threes from both sides. Keldon Johnson's clutch threes in the fourth too. Wemby was hitting some. Really, like a lot of clutch threes on both sides. Oh, another thing too. So this is kind of like critiquing Wemby a little bit, which is kind of hard because I mean Wemby's amazing. I do think Wemby needs to play with more just go. Don't even think go. Because when he does that, it doesn't allow the defense to kind of get set and get ready for Wemby. Because a lot of times when Wemby gets the ball and when he's at his best, he just goes. Like he doesn't think, he just goes. He does it. Like they threw him a little pass in the paint. He gets the ball, no thinking, turns around and just dunks the ball. Right? I forgot when that. I think that was in the first or second quarter, but he just did that really fast. And then there was another play where Wemby is at the key, like not at the top of the key. I think he was more on the wing on the left side. He gets the ball. He's standing there kind of like trying to read the defense, but then it allowed the defense to kind of set to where obviously it's to prevent Wemby from getting to the paint. And when that happened, Wemby seen that and he thought, let me try to pull a jumper, but that allowed Hartenstein to be right there to like contest it, right? Minor stuff like that. I just think that like I think Wemby just needs to play with a little bit, just a lot more, I guess not less thinking, but like, dude, you're one of the best players and it's hard to guard you. So I think like a lot of times you don't gotta just stand there with the ball in your hand and try to ponder like what should I do, just go, just do it. You don't have to think too hard. And I think that's when he's at his best, he's just on go. But I get it, you're nervous. This is your first playoff appearance. First conference finals, first game 7, first time going, like, you're on the verge of the finals. So, like, I get it, bro. Dude's 22 years old, right? And I understand that. He's young. I guess moving past that, right, I could talk about the overall idea how I think the Spurs and Knicks are going to go. I mean, not too much on it, I won't lie. I do think the Spurs are going to kill the Knicks. I think it's going to be Spurs in 5. I think Knicks might take a game, but who's stopping Wemby on their side? I think Jalen Brunson's probably going to die. Like, I'm not even trying to troll, but like I think Jalen Brunson's going to have the worst time of his life trying to score because you got amazing guard defenders and Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, Devin Vassell, Julian Champagnie when he's on the court too, when he's guarding. Like, these guys are good defenders, bro. So I think Jalen Brunson's going to have a tough time. Any switches, he's fried. Because I don't even think Wemby on Jalen Brunson is a terrible one either. Like, Jalen Brunson's going to have a tough time, man. Players are going to have to step up. OG, Cat. But I think Cat's going to get locked up by Wemby. So OG, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, people off the bench. I don't know, this team is probably fried. We'll see, though. I mean, I'd be surprised if the Knicks take more than 2 games. I think Spurs in 5. I think Wemby's going to get his first championship, first Finals MVP. This is going to be an insane dynasty for the Spurs, I think, because I think they're going to win a lot. But we did say that about the Thunder, so we'll see. But yeah, I mean, those are kind of my thoughts. I didn't go too hard on the finals because I'm going to make my own separate video about how I think the finals end up going. I'm going to try my best to do game reactions. We'll see. But, hey, man, that's Brandon on Sports. Check me out on Instagram. Check me out on TikTok. Check out the No Neutral Zone podcast with me and my friend Jaden. But yeah, man, I'm going to catch y'all when I can. Peace.